Hey guys, Shay here. Thank you for stopping by my channel, Shay Love Hair. Today, we are going to be talking about something super important, baby, those edges, okay? Alright, so I get so many questions about that because I've been wearing crochet for so long and yeah, my edges are still intact. Now, did I make a oops here or there? Absolutely. But I quickly corrected them and got it fixed. So one of the main questions that I always get is how in the world do you keep your edges when you're dealing with crochet styles? For me personally, my hair is really fine. Not just my edges, like all of my hair. Like it is so super fine. Like the strand itself, and it's not even just it's not like it's health. My hair is very, very healthy. It's just hereditary. My mother's hair was thin like that. My grandmother's hair was thin like that. It grows, it has length, but just the actual strand, they're just thin. And because they're thin, I can't stress out the hair. Like whether it's my edges, my kitchen, whatever, it doesn't matter. If I stress it too much, if it's too tight, it's gonna come out. Period. Like it's gonna come out. Yeah. When it comes to the things that I do to take care of my hair to make sure that there's no breakage going on, I really have to do it for all of my head. Like my edges are not necessarily weaker than the rest, of my head. But some people have that issue where their edges are just weaker than the rest. Mine is just like, if your edges are weaker, like that, the area that's weak for you is my whole entire head. It is my whole entire head, period. So I just have to be careful about how I install my hair, how I maintain it, what I do with it, what I put in it, moisturizing, all of that stuff, all of that good stuff. So we're just going to cover the basis of what you need to do to make sure you maintain your edges, okay? Now, the first thing was, let me get her name. But there was a young lady that messaged me and she was asking some questions about how to maintain her edges, because she was saying that her edges were really weak. Now, I know that this is a crochet channel. I know I should advise you, your problem should all be solved with crochet hair, because that's what companies want you to say, right? But I can't say that in good faith. I can't say that in good faith, because if you already have an issue with your edges, like you already have hair loss, and you're trying to grow it back, I get this question all the time. What's the best protective style I can use to get my edges to grow back? None. Leave it alone and let it grow back. That's my advice. No wigs, no sew-ins, no braids, no crochet braids, none of that. Leave it alone, because it needs airflow. Therefore, a wig, you're rubbing, it's not getting the air. It needs oxygen. It needs to be able to breathe. Leave it alone. All the rubbing against it from a wig is not good. All the tugging from sew-ins and braids, not good. The tension, from your crochet braids, the issue of the needle going through, trying to hook, hair onto the little bit that you might have there, like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's going to consistently come out. Now, for those of you that, and I'm not saying this for everybody, because everybody is different, but I can say for the majority, you need to find you a regular natural style, maybe with some bangs to cover it up or some stuff like that. If you're insecure about it, then, do bangs. But it needs to be just a natural style, something that you have access to that area to make sure that it's moisturized, it has access to hair, it's not being constantly rubbed on, it's not constantly being teased on. It don't necessarily have to be too tight for it to pull it out, because if you're attaching hair to 20 strands, okay, that's much better than 5, right? Those 5 are going to be hella stressed. No tension is the best tension, in my opinion. So if you do have thinning edges, whether it's from tension, or it could be other stuff, you know. It's not always going to be your hairstyle the reason why your hair might be, you know, coming out, you know, in your, you know, wherever it is, whether it's your edges or, you know, in the back of your head or wherever. It could be, you know, a number of things. But if you've never had an issue with it before, and then you put in the style and you feel it and it's super tight, and you take it out, all your hair come out with it, then of course, yes, it was that style. But, you know, if you constantly have that issue of your hair coming out, no matter what kind of style it is, if your edges just, you know, just break off just like that, no matter what you do to it, then I would suggest, you know, going to, you know, a dermatologist or, you know, your doctor or whatever to see what they can do, having to check your levels. You know, I'm not a doctor, but I know like vitamin A, B, C, D, and E, and folic acid, all those things promote, you know, hair growth. I'm not saying to go out and buy all of it, because some of it you don't need to take if you don't have a deficiency in it, and some of that stuff your body don't get rid of, you know, don't get rid of excess of it, so you don't want to take too much of it. What I'm saying is, if you have an issue with hair loss in general, you might just want to go to your doctor, have them check those levels and make sure that everything's okay in that front, because you may just have a simple deficiency, and that can be fixed by just, you know, taking that vitamin and, you know, that might work for you. And of course, you know, drinking plenty of water, exercising, eating right, all that stuff that, you know, I don't really do. But all of those things are important when it comes to your hair. You wouldn't believe like the difference, but it makes a huge difference. Now, if you don't have any hair loss right now, if you're just trying to make sure that you don't have any issues with your edges, because you've heard of horror stories when it comes to people trying to crochet hair and they're, you know, all the edges come out, you know, whatever, then okay, let's talk about that. Okay, so maintaining the edges that you already have, basically the things I would not advise is like bulk crochet. I use it, yes I do, but I don't necessarily put it around my edges. When I say bulk crochet, I mean like pre-looped things. Like I did a pre-looped 3C coily hair. When I got to my edges, you know, around my edges, I took the pre-loop, like the little band that's be around the loose hair, I took that off and then I installed it individually, because I didn't want all of that stress on my edges, because without a doubt, it would have pulled it out. So bulk hair can be the locks, can be the box braids, stuff like that. So when I do that, I don't necessarily put it all the way down at the edge. I just don't. I give it some room. And what I do is I baby hair that stuff all the way down. Y'all might not like baby hairs. If you don't do baby hairs with braids, you know, whatever, then just know you running a risk, because you know that braid is heavy, especially if you're getting the longer ones and the thicker ones. Like the more weight on your hair, you know, the more tension is gonna be. So that's up to you, but I don't put them like dead on my edge. I baby hair that stuff out, and then I start where my hair is thicker at and it has more support for those braids. Also moisturizing. I have a video on how I prep my hair when I do my crochets, regardless of what kind of hair I'm putting in. I always start out with a moisturizing oil, then I top it with a sealing oil, and then I braid my hair and everything. So that moisture is very important. If you do that, you're probably going to be good for at least 4 weeks. You don't have to really moisturize. Now, if you have extremely dry hair and your hair drinks it up, then yeah, you might have to maintain and like oil it in between that time. But for me, my hair is kind of already naturally oily, so it really doesn't need it as much. But I just want to make sure that my hair maintains its elasticity. I want to make sure that my hair maintains its elasticity. Why I can't say that today? Oh my God. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. That's why I do it. I just want to make sure my hair is good and oiled up before I put the needle, you know, through and start crocheting. When I'm doing other people's, I have, oh, let me go get this. Okay, so like I was saying, when I am like moisturizing in between, or if I'm doing a climb, before I put on the before I start installing the actual hair, I start putting this in there. Like, you just want to just put, you know, the oil of your choice in there. I, of course, like natural products. I get all of my oils and stuff out of the grocery side and not the hair side, because the beauty side, of course, is going to have so many other additives. If I can't eat it, then I usually don't want it in my hair. I'm not saying everything. Like, I use some gels, you know, some stuff before. The majority is going to come out of the grocery side. And this little thing with this little spout, I got this at Sally's, and it might have been $2. I don't even know. But it was really cheap, and it helps, like, to be able to get in between the braid. And girl, you stick that in there, especially when your head itching and you got some good oil, and you just give it a little squeeze. It'll bless your soul, okay? So get you one of those. Definitely oil it. And that'd be one of the main things. Like, people are tell me, like, you know, I have so much breakage when I do crochet braids. Do you have this? Is this normal? And the first thing I ask them is, well, do you moisturize your hair in between, you know, the style? Like, do you moisturize it once a week? No. Okay. Well, that's why. Right. So just make sure that you're moisturizing your hair. Choice of hair, you know, I mean, the choice of oil, that really depends on you. Some people's hair responds better to one type versus another. So I can't really advise you on which one's going to work best for you. It's trial and error situation, really. But I definitely, in the beginning, have a moisturizing oil, and then I seal it with the sealing oil on top of it. I should probably do a video on that. On like what's moisturizing oils, what's sealing oils. If you want something like that, then let me know. Just put it in the comments, and then I'll do that. But the video that I already did, that was prepping my hair for crochet braids, it kind of touches on that. So, you know, go check that video out. And if you want more information on it, let me know. We'll sit down, we'll chat about it. I'll get that video out to you. So far, what we got? We got no bulk hair around the edges. We have, if you have an issue with hair loss on a constant basis, you want to go check with your doctor. And then we also have moisturizing your hair, especially your edges. All right, so the next thing we want to talk about when it comes to your edges is the type of needles that you use around your edges. Okay, so the type of needles that you use, like, okay, we have a standard and we have a, what I call an edging needle. Now, it's probably something different. I don't really know. Maybe it's just a size small, but I call it my edger. But see, okay, you see the difference here? This is the one that I use for regular, you know, like throughout my head. And then I have this one here that is a lot smaller. That's the one that I use to install my hair around my edges. Now, this won't work if you're trying to do, you know, the bulk hair. But if you're doing individual hair strands, then this one will work. Why will it work? Brings me to my next point. If you're going to use loose hair and you're putting it on your edges, and you want to make sure that you're not putting too much weight on your hair, because it's not all about the tension of the braid, like of your cornrow. Yes, the tension of the braid, like the tightness of the cornrow, can pull your edges out. It can definitely promote some hair loss for sure. But even if the braid is not really tight, if the weight of hair that you attach to it is too much, that's still tension. It's a different type of tension, but it's still tension, and it can still pull it out. So the reason why I'm able to use this small one is because the hair strand is gonna always be smaller. What do I mean by that? Let me take, for instance, this hair. Okay. We have about this much hair. Okay. And when I'm installing it in my head, when I'm in the back portion, I can install this whole strand. No problem. I mean, I'm going to have to secure it because this hair is silky. But I can put it in and there's no issue. Okay. But when I get to my edges, I don't split this just one time or two times. I literally can get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I use 1/7 of a strand to put on my edges. And so, of course, this small bit will fit on this little needle, right? With no issue. This is how much you should be using if you're putting it around your edges, okay? Watch out for that when you go get your hair installed. Like a lot of people, like they'll even inbox me and expect me to do loose bulk hair like this in like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Well, that's because you done went to somebody that probably damaged your shit, like for real, because they're putting this big bulks, you know, in your head. And okay, yeah, it's fast and it might even still look a little decent, but at the end of the day, you're not winning with that because it's putting too much tension on your edges. And on top of that, if you do too big of a knot, I do not like the look of knots like right in front. Like I need that stuff to be microscopic. I don't know. Just for like looks, like I don't know. I don't like no big knot. Brings me to the final point, which I already kind of touched on, which was the actual cornrow of your hair. You want to make sure that it's not too tight. I know that, you know, somebody say, you know, the tighter it is, the longer it's going to last, the neater it is, the neater your edges are going to be. That's true. Cornrows, yes, they can be too tight, and yes, they can cause breakage if they are. So just make sure that that's not too tight. And just remember, like when you're braiding, especially if you're doing it yourself, realize that if it's tight without the hair in, when you add hair to it, it's going to be even tighter. So if you already feel tension on it and you haven't even installed the hair yet, then you might need to take a second and unbraid it and redo it a little with a little less tension in it, okay? Because it's gonna have more tension when you're adding hair to it, okay? So, I hope I covered everything. These things I have done for the years and years and years that I have wore crochet hair, and it has helped. If you guys have any questions for me, if I missed something, if I didn't go over something well enough, then please, you know, hit in the comments. If you have any tips to share, you know, put it in the comment section. We all a community. We all trying to help each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just drop it in the comments and let's talk about it. But until next time, peace and blessings.